the job. There we are. And we'll have a little bit of wash on that just to bring out more detail. Next, let's have a look at the purple areas of the Ujit. So we'll get some of the purple up here and pop some of the skeleton bone in just to brighten it a little. I'm just taking everything from it, isn't it? It's not just brightening it a little, it's drowning it completely. I don't know, that seems okay. Let's have a try at it. Now I know I could have used another colour, which I have in my collection, but I forgot to pick it up when I was over there with this. So I just want to see if I could try and get a nice mix with something else. I could have probably used the spaceship exterior to make a slightly better colour. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to take Druchii Violets, and straight out the pot, add that. Just in a few spots here and there, not doing a full wash with this. It's seems to be quite a glossy paint, this purpley colour. In fact, let's do a full wash. We can come back to it later on and highlight it a bit more. That'll do. Right, next job is highlighting this shield. Let's just go with red, shall we? This is Vallejo's model colour red. Let's pop that in a different position. Add some of this. And using a little bit of this corn red and quite a bit more of the Vallejo red. We'll just add some lines going right down the middle of the shield. And that will give the effect of light just hitting the shield and bouncing straight down it where it's curved, rather than. And if you can make the lines a little curved here and there, it will look all the better. Alright, So that's that bit done. Now, go back into the corn red and just add a few touches here and there towards the edges, just to try and weather it out a bit. Just like so. I'm hoping you can see that. We're going to be going back into that red a little bit later, and for all my paper towel, I've dropped it, so let's get another piece. Okay, let's use some of the skeleton bone. Just a little bit of this. And some of the leather. And we will highlight this leather colour once we get the right shade that we're looking for. It looks a little better. Don't want it too pale. Look a little better, but it's still a little bit of a issue on the brush. There we go. That looks okay. There, there, and there. And then we try to do the top edge of this. And there we have it. And now here. Just make it a little obvious that it's there. There we go. Next, let's have a do with the metal. This Vallejo colour, which is copper. No, we don't want that at all, because that is quite a watery paint, because it's a blooming, what do you call it? It's, oh dear God, it's an airbrush paint, so we want a more drier paint colour. Okay, so what we have is, we have another Andy Painter paint, Greedy Gold, and you might have just heard something fall. I'm going to turn this round a little bit so you can see what we're doing properly. So we'll have Greedy Gold. And into that, we're going to put another one as well. I am missing a paint colour that I've just found. Not missing it at all. Plate mail metal. So I'll give that a shake. I can pop that out on here. Oops, came out in a bit of a rush. Never mind. So we want that and that mixed together. I don't think the gold was. In fact, I'm not happy about this on my palette. It's not what I'd like. So I'm going to take those off. I'm going to just use the I'm messing everything up here, I can see. Okay, I'm going to use the plate mail metal, and with that I'm going to go over these little nubs, studs, whatever you want to call it, on the belt. And this ring. And the gladius. It needs straightening up a bit, this, I think. And I'm also going to go over the cartouche on the shield, as well as the edges of the shield. Now, as I say, these little nubs, studs, whatever they are, on the, if you can hear some shout in the background, that's the neighbour from downstairs. There we go, let's try again. She's a video gamer, and she has a habit of shouting every now and again at her opponents. Now, whether or not that's what she's doing at the time, at this precise moment in time, I'm not sure. But it's just in case you can hear some shouting in the background. Right then. Okay, so that's that. Anything else I want to do in this colour? No, there isn't. But I'm going to wash my brush out, dry it again, and go back into the corn red just to go over this area here. And looking at it, that bit that we did in the middle didn't show up at all. So let's try some Evil Sun Scarlet. Let's see if that works. So put that there. And it's just some rough lines going down. Doesn't have to be perfect, this. You're just giving the impression of light hitting the shield. There you go. Just some random little lines. we do it a little bit wider, you can add some more colour over the top. It'll make it seem a bit more real. You can see there you've got that sheen built up there now. Next, I want to bring in a palette, and we're going to go back into the plate mail metal. In fact, I'll just take some off here, just like so, and some of the, was it Greedy Gold that I used earlier? Yep. So I'll give this a good shake. Close that. These metallic paints really need a good shake. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my vortex mixer. Bear with me. Let's see if that helps. We just want a little bit bop. Quite literally one drop. And we'll mix it in with the silver colour to make a strange muted metallic colour, which is what we want. And we'll just go over this belt buckle and the helmet. And we'll even go over the hilt of the sword. Or gladius, or whatever you want to call it. I think that's what it is. I'm sure that's the gladius. Might be wrong, as I keep saying, I'm not a weapons expert. I don't fully know. But yet, what I do know is that it's time for the highlight of the skin. So let's pull this back and get into our highlight colour for skin, which is Jasper Skin. So I just realised it's ball time again. Hang on, let's move that over there, that over there. So now we're going for a very fine detail. So let's get that. And my painter brush back. And we can just add spots of this colour over the raised areas of the skin, just to make sure that we can see where light is hitting. And I've not done the armour on the shoulder, on this arm with the metal. So we'll go back and do that in a second. That's the beauty of this type of paint. If you'd miss something, you've not lost anything. All you do is go back, and if you paint over something you aren't supposed to, again, you can just go back and touch up with the paint. As Bob Ross says, there's no mistakes, there's just happy little accidents. And That is more so with acrylics and oils, and much less with watercolour, which is why you don't find watercolour paints used for mini painting. There we go. So we just keep touching up here and there on areas where we know the light is going to hit. That's it. Now, I know this is a long video. I know this is not going to be in one single part, so I hope you've stuck with us and watched the end of this. If you have, I hope you've picked something up from the tips I've shown you. I hope I've inspired you to pick up a brush, some paints. More importantly, I hope I've inspired you to have a try with these skin tone paints, because these are really, really nice paints. And as you've seen, I've done this one without any washes whatsoever. So, well, on the paint, on the skin tones anyway, we did use a bit of a wash on the loincloth. And there we are. Nearly finished this mini. I will paint the other mini like this one off camera with a paler skin tone than this fella. I mean, obviously I'm not quite finished yet, but I'm just rabbiting on for the sake of rabbiting on more than anything else. Yeah, so if you have got anything out of this video at all, then please feel free to wander over to Patreon and have a nosy, and hopefully and consider becoming a patron. You can also buy me a coffee over there on Buy Me a Coffee, and the music you'll find in this video is all from Epidemic Sound. It's a monthly subscription service. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm hoping that I can inspire someone to go over and give them a go, because if you do that, then a little bit of a bonus comes to me. It's not so much not getting paid for it. I just so a few people have, well, I think I'll probably get a month free, something like that, so that could help with the expenses for the channel. But it's a very nice, very good service to use. As I say, it's a monthly service. It's not extraordinarily expensive, but you get a lot of sound effects. You get a lot of sound effects and a lot of music you can use in your videos. So at the moment I'm aiming to become a ambassador for them, because I believe in the system and the service that they provide and the quality of the music and sound effects that they provide. I've done quite a few things with them over the past year or two that I've been a member myself. And I'd like to encourage other people to give them a try, because as I say, I like the service. Now then, where am I? What am I looking for? Let's go into Demonic Yellow. And just a spot of this Demonic Yellow. Not a big spot, just a tiny spot. We'll get some of this Demonic Yellow here, and then we'll take some of this red and mix it in with this Demonic Yellow to make a, this is the Evil Sun Scarlet, and we'll just make a paler orangey colour, and we'll just go over on this to make just to make a brighter, little bit of a brighter sheen to it. And now I'm just doing dots all the way down. There we are. And now let's just go heavily into this. And again, just dots all the way down. And that will give a focus for any light that's going to hit it. Now I did say I was going to use another colour for the stubs. Oh, first I want to do the whatchamacallit, those little Ujits. There's wraps on the leg, so I'm going to use a little bit of Carolburg Crimson. I've used a bit more of the Army Painter stuff that I was intending to use for this particular video, but never mind, they've come in handy. I want to try and get rid of them completely, so they're not taking up space. Because once they've gone, they've gone. And I can just continue then with Army Painter, Vallejo, and trying any other paint range that I feel would be interesting to use. After I've done that, we bring in the CD palette back, and with this metallic paint that we mixed up earlier, we'll just go over this arm. There we go. And the next job is just a little bit of a dry brushing. Just using some of the skeleton bone that we had out earlier, and we'll just do a little bit on the inside of here in the hope that it will bring out the wood grain. And it seems to be doing. There we are. Next, I'm going to go back over to my store of Army Painter paints and pick out a highlight for the loincloth, which is Mutant Hue. I know that one doesn't have any balls in it. I can't hear a blooming thing go out of it, so let's take the lid off here. Let's bring you back in. And just a little touch on this palette, and then because that wash has darkened this up quite well, and this mutant hue goes really way up. Just up the brush. This mutant hue goes really nicely against this wash. Yeah, so that's that. And I think just for the sake of finishing off, get a little bit of the plate mail metal, go on the top there, a little on the side there, a little on the side there, there. And just on the edges. There we are. And the top there too. There we go. And that is it. Let's move that out of the way, that out of the way, and zoom in a little bit, and you can see what we've done. So I'm not going to show the base. All we're going to do for the base is paint it mahogany. In fact, let's just go through quickly what we're going to do with the base. Paint it mahogany, which is a Vallejo airbrush colour. There we are. Just all the way around the rim. So make it like a wooden plinth more than anything else. And then once it's dried, sand the base and then go over it with a coating of, hang on a second, let me just make sure this is smooth. I don't want it incredibly smooth, I want it to look as though there's a little bit of texture to it, because I want it, as I say, to look like a wooden base, and wood has texture and patterns in it, so that's what I'm looking for. So once that has dried, cover the whole top of the base in sand. Okay, so on this grey area here will be covered in sand, which is a mixture of children's play sand for sandpits and a bit of coarse ballast thrown in as well for good measure. And then what I will do is paint on the sand areas with desert yellow. Then give that a wash with, where I can find it, mid-brown. Then give a dry brush once the mid-brown wash is dried. A dry brush with desert yellow. And then once that's dried, go over with a dry brush of skeleton bone. And then just to pick out the very raised details, like the ballast and whatnot, dry brush with spaceship grey, a very fine dry brush with spaceship grey. And that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. So I'm going to have to go over this base a few more times before I can actually count it as finished, but there we are. So all that's left to say is hope you've enjoyed it. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. and take care, God bless, and bye for now.